It all began when the public swimming pool closed down. We were supposed to go there for swimming lessons when my mom told me that we were no longer allowed to go there anymore because it was now against the law. Then changes started happening in our home, to our water. It started to taste like metal and chlorine. It wasn't safe anymore. And with that came the restrictions. We were no longer allowed to wash our car or water our plants. At first, people just thought that it was just a chemical leak in our water supply and that it would all be over soon. But as weeks turned to months, we realized that the situation was about to get even worse. With no water to supply the farms or feed ourselves, a lot of people couldn't keep their businesses open, and some even took their own lives. They couldn't deal with the loss or the muddy water, and it became too much. My friends and I couldn't play together, and a little while later, we were no longer allowed out after school anymore. We had to stay inside and just sit and wait for news to come. The state put sanctions on every part of our lives, and all of our food and bottled water in our supermarkets were gone. It was all gone. All of our joy and life had disappeared. We were slowly starving, but there was nothing we could do except wait and hope that the rain would come. But it never did. Instead, it only got worse. All of our native animals began to pass away. Kangaroos started to come inland to try and find water, but would end up getting hit by cars instead. Other animals like possums and koalas also didn't survive because of dehydration, their bodies drying out before they even had a chance to cool. The impact on our native wildlife was terrible. Our land that was once lively and green was now a dusty wasteland full of remains of animals, but there was nothing we could do. We couldn't spare a single drop of water. But just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, our farm animals started passing away too, and with it, our crops, the livelihood of farmers, and our main source of food. We couldn't even shower properly anymore as the water turned muddy and brown. The inability to clean affected all of us. No one smiled anymore, and all of our farmers' markets closed down. It felt like life had stopped, and we were all stuck in limbo, unsure of our future. That's when I finally learned what caused this nightmare: a drought. All over the news, all we heard was 90% of New South Wales was paying the price of the most severe drought in history. Soon, 90% turned to 95%, and 95% turned to 100%, and our state was a drop away from uninhabitable. The school began teaching us why it was happening and what we could do. Honestly, I was surprised we still had to go to school. But even if we didn't, it's not like we could do anything else. We couldn't play because there was no more grass, just the dry, jagged ground. Many officials say that the drought was because of the rising global temperatures and mass pollution. Before this, I never understood how serious climate change was. Until I saw with my own eyes how a place that was once green had become rotten and turned to dust. Even though it's spring here, there are no flowers blooming or cicadas chirping. Just complete and utter silence. My family and I have thought about moving to the city, where there is still water, but this is our home. This was where my grandparents lived, and their grandparents before them. We can't imagine leaving our animals and home behind. So for now, we bear it and pray that the water comes back. I try to be grateful, though, for the small amounts of rain that has fallen and that my family is still alive. This drought opened my eyes to the terrible impact that no water can cause to our livelihood. It has taught me to save as much water as possible because it is precious. I feel sad for the farmers who have lost their lives and stock, and I wish that there was more that I could do. But for now, I pray that the rain will come soon. No matter where you live, please do not take water for granted. Be aware and save water Because with the world rapidly changing, droughts can happen to anyone, anywhere.